We dealt with finding the median in another video, but the question in the other video had a frequency table with discrete data. This time we have continuous data, and it's in this form. With continuous data, the idea is very similar in terms of finding the modal value or the modal class, the median, and the mean. However, we need to have an extra step in it before we start solving the questions. So this extra step is called finding the midpoint. And you need to draw a column for it. Now, the idea of the midpoint is that the continuous data you have is always in the form of classes. So you put them in classes and you have a range in each class, which means when I say this class has frequency 8, I'm not sure which values in there are repeated 8 times, some are repeated once, but the values between 60 and less than 70 are repeated 8 times, but we don't know which exact values these are, which means that if I want to represent this class with one value, it's going to be really hard because we don't know which values to pick. Should I pick 60? Should I pick 62? Should I pick 69? We're not sure which value is more accurate. That is why we refer to the midpoint. We always go for the middle value because it's going to give us it's going to be less of an error if we pick the middle value. So the way you find the middle value is either by observation, so you can tell that the middle value is 65 in this case, if you draw a number line, or you can just add the values and divide by 2. So 70 plus 60 and then divide by 2 should give you 65, and you can fill in the rest. 80 plus 70 divided by 2 should give you 75, or again, as I mentioned, you can imagine it through a number line. You can also notice a pattern in the mid-value points. So this mid-value will represent your class, and you will use it to find the mean, you will use it to find the median as well. You won't need it for the modal value. The modal value here is, the modal class here is 70 to 80 because it's the most repeated class. So we will use the midpoint now to find the median. We will use the same idea as we did in the discrete frequency table, but this time we'll represent the class using the midpoint. So if I'm saying 65, I'm actually referring to this class. Now, as we mentioned before, in order to know our median, which is our middle value, we need to know how many sets of data we have. So we need to find the total, which is done by adding all the frequency, which is 8 plus 15 plus 12 plus 10 plus 8 plus 3 plus 4. You can quickly plug this into a calculator, and that should give you 60. So again, I'm going to represent this using a bar demonstration. So this represents my 60 pieces of data. Okay, so any numbers in here would lie in the beginning, and then 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100, etc. until I've nicely laid out 60 pieces of data. Again, with this question, we come to the issue of we have an even number set of data. So I can nicely divide my data into 2 parts, so I can nicely split it into 30 and 30. So this is my 60, and I can have 30 pieces of data here and another 30 here. Remember, with the median, you want the middle value. So the middle value will be right in the middle there, but we're not sure if it's on this side or that side. So our middle value will actually be between the 30th and the 31st piece of data. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I would recommend you refer to the previous video about finding the median from a discrete frequency table. So we have our 30 and 31st piece of data that we need to find. You can do this by counting through the table or by laying out your data and noticing or recognizing where your 30th and 31st piece of data lie. So I'm going to represent each class by their midpoint. So the 65, or the first class, is repeated 8 times. The 75, or the second class, is repeated 15 times. By the point here, I still haven't reached my 30th piece of data. I'm still at 23. So I'm going to continue counting. And if you notice, the third group, which is 85, will cross over this middle point. So I have 12 of them. So by the time I've counted 85, all of 85, I've actually reached 35. Okay, again, if I counted up to here, I've counted 8 pieces of data. So after I'm done with the first class, I've already counted 8. After I've counted the second class, I've already counted 15 of the second class. However, I've already counted 23rd of my total data. And as I'm counting the third class, I will cross over to the other half of my data. So 85 will cross over to 35. So my last 85 is my 35th piece of data, which means 30 and 31 will come from the same class. And again, we don't know which values we should pick from this class. So I'm looking at this class. I'm not sure which values to take. Should I take 81? Should I take 85? Is it 89? We're not sure. Is it 87.9? We're not sure. So we only take the midpoint, or the mid value. And so my 30th and 31st piece of data are 85 and 85. And as before, because we have an even set of data, we don't have an exact middle value. We only have 2 pieces of value that are between the mean. What you have to do is you add them together, you divide by 2, and this will stay as 85. So our median is, the median is 85, or you can say the median lies in the class 80 to 90. I would recommend doing more questions from the book on page 60 or exercise 2H, and try to find the median for as many questions as you can.